holiday season is officially upon us, and today I'm going to share some brand new Dollar Tree DIYs. Let's get started. All the DIYs in today's video have a similar woodland theme to them, and I use a lot of buffalo check in the projects as well. First up, I'm going to be showing you how to make this lantern really only using 2 larger items from the Dollar Tree. Here's what else you'll need. Also, I apologize for my voice in today's video. I am recovering from a little bit of a cold, so sorry if it sounds a little gross, but the video must go on, and just like it is the time of the year for Christmas DIYs, it's also the time of the year for colds. But moving on, so first up, I am taking this, basically it's like a mason jar with a handle, and it's a mug from the glassware section, and I painted it entirely black. Then I took one of these larger, I think it's like a vase, but I called it more like a candle holder, and this fits perfectly down into our mason jar cup. This is going to be, of course, the top of our lantern, and I just stuck a tea light down inside of it. And to finish it all off and kind of tie it together, as well as hide some of the lip marks on the top of our mason jar, I took one of these buffalo check bows from the Dollar Tree. I did cut it down a little bit because it was a little bit too large, and then just adding some hot glue, I added it right into where the glass vase and our mason jar meet. I absolutely love this DIY. It's so quick and easy, but I think really looks like a fancy kind of woodland theme lantern that you could also leave up all season long. It doesn't just have to be for Christmas. I think it works really well into the winter months too. Per usual, the Dollar Tree came out with some great calendars for the upcoming new year, and I absolutely loved this image of the Christmas tree and the red truck from one of my calendars, so I knew that I had to put it in one of my DIYs this year. Here are the other DIYs that you'll need to make this. I picked up quite a few of these mason jar signs this past summer because I love using them in DIYs. I recently used it in a fall video. I'll pop up a picture of that. I think they are so great, so if you ever see them, definitely pick a couple up because they are great to use throughout the year. I did take off some of the more bulky fruit pieces because you know me, I gotta save everything. I'm sure I'll use it in a spring or summer DIY. And then I just flipped over my sign so I had more of that blank canvas to work with. I did paint the upper section of the mason jar using a dark green paint. I am going to be covering it in jute, but just in case there's any areas where some color does peek through, I wanted it to be that nice winter as well as a forest green. Then I took some buffalo check scrapbooking paper. I always pick mine up from Hobby Lobby. They're pretty much always on sale or running a deal with them. And I just adhered that down to my wood sign using a glue stick. The Dollar Tree came out with some great calendars this year, but I think my favorite is this Farmer's Market one. I just really particularly enjoyed the images in this one. And I don't have a giveaway in today's video, but I'm definitely going to be holding at least one more before 2023. So make sure that you're staying tuned to all of my videos. I might not particularly announce it in the title, but I am going to be having at least one more calendar giveaway before the new year because I know a lot of you weren't able to get your hands on this calendar, but I still want you to be able to craft with it and use it. After I adhered the image down with a glue stick, I wrote out Merry Christmas using some bits of cardboard. This cardboard actually came with the calendar, so that's what I used. And I did use my cutting machine to cut out Merry Christmas. I also took a stain. I really like the antique stain by Waverly to stain all of my letters. With the cardboard, I did notice that the stain clung to some areas more than others, whereas I think if you used a basswood or a faux wood, or even the wood letters from the Dollar Tree, I think I would have liked it a little bit better because, yeah, I did notice that the stain clung a little bit oddly to some of the cardboard, but I would definitely recommend picking up some of those wood letters from the Dollar Tree. I think that really would have spelled out Merry Christmas even better, but I still love the way that this mason jar hanging sign came out, and I did add a little bit of embellishment in the top right using some greenery, ribbon, and a faux acorn. The Dollar Tree comes out with these wood house signs pretty much every year. I've definitely seen them for the last 2. I picked it up last year and never crafted with it, so I was very excited when I had an idea for what I wanted to make this year. I was able to go into my craft stash and use some supplies I already had. Here's what else you'll need to make it. The first part of this DIY is giving it a bit of a farmhouse makeover. I did like the buffalo check, and I will bring some of those elements back into it. But first off, I wanted to lay down some of this, kind of looks like a shiplap paper. Again, picked it up from Hobby Lobby. Absolutely love the value that you get for their scrapbooking paper. And I did realize that I forgot to kind of cut off the section where our little roof is going to be. So once I trimmed that down to size, I did use a spray adhesive. I really like this one from Elmer's, so I just sprayed down my area and then laid the scrapbooking paper on. And because it was a larger piece of scrapbooking paper, I used my scraper tool just to iron out any bubbles and make sure that my paper was laying nice and flat. I used a dark brown paint to cover up that buffalo check design on the chimney, and then I went in and of course had to make it farmhouse, dirty it up a little bit more by doing some dry brushing and using brown paint to distress the backing of our house. Next, I went in with some more details. So I wanted this to be kind of a cozy looking cabin, very woodland. So I picked up these smaller Christmas trees, which you can use for a Christmas village. And I am going to put that in the bottom right-hand corner. Then to add a little bit of the rustic touch, I took some jute and wound that 3 times around the top. So you can see that I was going for the black and white buffalo check kind of theming here, but I wasn't really liking it. I felt like I needed a pop of color. So I decided to go with red, and I chose a red and kind of beige buffalo check bow. And then here I am trying to decide what I'm gonna do for the paper, but I ended up choosing this one. It was 12 Days of Christmas sheet music, and it had that hint of red that I thought matched the bow really nicely. So I hot glued that down onto our sign, and then I followed up with some more jute on the bottom of our sign. Then I went ahead and once I was happy with my coloring choices, added the hot glue to make the bow a bit more permanent. And I did take a bell, which I used a little bit of brown paint to kind of add some faux rust. And I put that in the center of our bow before then hot gluing down the tree, now that I had finally decided what color and kind of scrapbooking paper to use. I picked up these ornaments. They came on a cardboard card with quite a few ornaments, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to use the buffalo check or the plain red, but I did end up going with the plain red Merry Christmas tag. I thought the other buffalo check was the wrong shade of red, so I added a little bit of jute because I had already cut off the ornament hanger, and once I added the jute, I hot glued that down into place, leaving a little bit of extra jute at the top. So it kind of looked like it was hanging off of our sheet music, which we already hot glued down. And then I went in and added a little bit more jute across the line of the sheet music. So it kind of looked like it was a really big package that was wrapped in some of this sheet music wrapping paper. The final touch was adding just a little jute bow onto where the hole was on my hanging ornament. I love how this turned out. I am definitely going to be displaying it on my mantle this year. I'm really excited to share how I decorate that with you guys in a future video. I love taking the ornaments from the Dollar Tree and giving them a makeover, so I definitely wanted to include one in today's video. Here are all of the other supplies that you'll need to make it. This is a cute ornament from the Dollar Tree, but doesn't really go with my decorating style for the holidays, so I am giving it, like I said earlier, a makeover. I took off that little silver piece, and later off camera, I took off the buttons and the buckle from the front of the sign because I kind of have an idea for how I want to use that in a different DIY. Then I took a wet paper towel and some stain, and I'm just staining that back MDF board of our ornament. Using, surprise, surprise, buffalo check scrapbooking paper, that's kind of the theme in today's video, I cut out a tree and then using a glue stick, just adhered that down to the front of our ornament. Going more with this video's rustic woodland themed, I wanted to add a little bit more of that rustic element to this ornament. So I did take some hot glue and jute, and I hot glued the jute twice all around the outer section of the ornament. I added in a jute hanger so we'll be able to hang our ornament off the tree, and then added some hot glue to put that silver ornament topper back into place. I made the exact same floral winter arrangement as I did in one of the previous DIYs to go on top of the ornament. It had a little bit of that garland, ribbon, and again, the acorn to really top everything off. And I love the way that this looks in my tree. It definitely is going to go with the style of all my other ornaments that I have. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, keep searching, keep creating.